Right twice a day, but it's not right now. Here we go. Call the Town of Oliver Springs, November the 16th, City Council to order. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller.
Here.
Jeff Bass. Kenny Brown. Teresa Van Hook.
Here.
Terry Holland.
Here.
Mason Brother. We have 3 out of 6. We have a quorum.
All right, Mr. Joe, will you lead us in prayer?
Our Father, we approach thy throne of grace. We ask that you would hear our prayer. We ask that you would deal in your special way with the problems in Palestine and the problems in Ukraine, the war, the hatred, the killing. We pray that folks would seek you, seek your face, and come to you, where peace would once again be restored. We pray for this town and its citizens and its elected leaders, its employees, all that are involved, that you would give us wisdom to serve you, that you would instill in our hearts the desire to seek you and join you in your work. Be with these men and women of this town as we serve the citizens and serve you. We ask all these things in thy Son's name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes for the November the 2nd meeting. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? So no discussion. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland.
Yes.
Passed.
And we do, Mr. Joe brought up a valid point from the last meeting we had on November the 2nd, when we approved those minutes. Joe, do you want to explain that just a little bit?
The charter says that 3 councilmen and the mayor are a quorum, but it also says it takes 3 votes, 3 affirmative votes to pass any particular matter. So if you have 3 councilmen and the mayor, which is a quorum, but there's 2 votes for a matter and 1 vote against or 1 vote that abstains, that's the vote, but it doesn't pass. It's not been approved. Now, I shared this with the mayor before the meeting in connection with the minutes. You can abstain if you're not comfortable in voting for the minutes if you missed the previous meeting. That's your choice. But remember that by voting to approve the minutes, you're not necessarily agreeing with the action that was taken or action that might not have been taken. You are simply saying the minutes are an accurate representation of what happened in the last meeting. And you could rely on your neighbor councilman or councilwoman to say, yeah, they look okay. And you could vote yes, or you could watch it on Facebook or on streaming or on the internet. For example, when I did the minutes, I watched the council meeting, Teresa and I taped it on our TV, on the, whatever that thing's called, the recorder, and then I just sat and watched it and did the minutes just as if I were here. So, if we got a full council, it's 5-0-1, it passes. But if it's 3 people, it's 2-0-1, they don't pass. Now, that's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean they're bad. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It just simply means it was considered and didn't pass.
Right. Okay. So with that being said, do we need to go ahead and re-vote on the minutes from October the 19th then?
If you wish to re-vote on the minutes of October 19th, the chair certainly could entertain a motion and second and roll call vote on those minutes. It's up to you all, because I tell people that you as a councilman or councilwoman have one power, and that's the power to make a motion.
Correct. Well, I try to be a follower of the letter of the law, so I'd rather err on the side of caution and due diligence and procedure. So Can we have a motion to accept the minutes on October the 19th meeting? Someone make that motion?
So moved.
So moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion?
Question.
Yes.
I wasn't here the 19th, that's why.
Yes, I understand that, and that's happened over my years in council. I've seen folks vote for them even though they weren't here. I've seen votes abstain when they weren't here. That's your decision. Strictly your decision.
And you could abstain this time as well, and then we just, at the next meeting on October or December the 7th, you know, when hopefully, you know, Mr. Brown or Mr. Bass or Mr. Brummett are here, then we could vote on it again.
Well,
If you chose to
I
abstain.
hadn't seen the meeting. That was why that
Yeah.
I didn't, but,
I'm not being critical of anybody, and I guess in the whole scheme of things, if they weren't approved, because it was 2 to 0 to 1, it's probably okay. Now, if we had a bond resolution, or we were borrowing money, or we were approved for a grant, or applying for a grant, then I think we ought to have 3 affirmative votes, yes.
Correct.
But,
but I have watched it since.
okay.
Okay.
We've watched too,
Yeah.
with the recording. That's the reason I voted yes tonight, because I had watched the recording.
Yeah, I watched it. So.
Any further discussion? Roll call, Mr. Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Holland,
Yes.
all voted aye.
Thank you, Mr. Joe. Delegation from citizens at this time, if so, please come forward, state your name.
Hi, I'm Donna Kralitz. I'm the event coordinator for the Rome Chamber of Commerce. So usually we separate our meetings by city, so I'm usually at Rockwood, all the city council meetings, but we haven't had representation at all the meetings, so I said, well, that'll be me. So you should probably get used to seeing my face. I'll be here most of the time for your city council meetings. We try to provide the coverage that we do on social media for all of our cities. And then we include updates from tourism and also the events that are taking place in the county. So I know you guys are split between 3 counties and we're only a little piece of you, so I get it. I have to represent multiple cities in the county that I am, and I know that sometimes not everyone gets a fair shake. So I just want to offer my services as the event coordinator. If you need help with anything that you have planned, if you need anything, I'm more than willing to step in and assist with that. We're going to have a float in the holiday parade coming up, and we had a booth at October Sky recently. Also, thanks to the chief of police, we had a great Oliver Springs representation at the National Night Out in August. So we're really, I was a teacher for 25 years and retired, so I'm really trying to embrace the new position, and I would really like to be inclusive of everybody. So please do not hesitate to reach out. If there's anything I can help you with, I'm happy. We had a great tour from the Historical Society with Jerry White. He took us last month, and I was blown away by how great it is. So we have some ideas on maybe an option for fundraiser for that. So I'm looking forward to it. So please don't hesitate to reach out. If anybody wants my card before I leave, I have one. But sometimes I think you get some things from me, invites, and I'm sure not a lot of them don't apply. But if you need anything, please don't hesitate to let me know.
Can I get one of your cards?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Go ahead and I'll. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dawn.
Thank you.
All right, so at this time, the mayor update. Just want a incredible quick response by the PD today and the fire department. We had a fire in a heavily residential area. A tree just intermittently fell across the power lines, knocking the power lines down, created a brush fire, and literally within 3 to 4 minutes from the time the call came in, we had officers and firemen on scene doing what they do best. To my understanding, no structures were damaged, correct?
Correct.
Fire was put out very quickly. Just the professionalism, the sense of urgency was incredible, top notch. From Officer Lewis to Officer Allen, who was also on the fire department, and Chief Laxton helping coordinate dispatch. Just can't say enough I mean, 'cause when I say a heavily residential area, one of probably, densely wise, probably one of the most residential homes in the town of Oliver Springs in that area, right? And for it to have started, called in and contained probably within an hour and a half, I guess. And the mutual aid agreements that we have set in place, you cannot say enough good about our friends at Blair. Just, they were on scene probably within 15, 20 minutes. And others were called and would have responded. So just want to say thank you for the quick response by all the people in uniform. So thank you guys, appreciate it. Fall cleanup is continuing to go on, so we've got a couple more weeks for that. So if you have any items, I'm sure Corey will follow up. No paint, no tires, but other than that, pretty much every household item you can imagine. Not last but not least, high school football team plays Cofield this Friday night in the third round of the playoffs, and seemingly we just cannot get past Cofield, and hopefully this time maybe we can, right? So go out and let's support our Bobcats and hopefully play some good football and walk away with a W. But either way, we just hope that the kids are safe and our town is represented well. So that's what we hope. And last thing, and I'll leave it at this, and you've heard me say this multiple times, when I became mayor, we had a 78% water loss rate. Right now, we're still tinkering right at about 60%. So we're continuing to chip away at it, right? And our new meters will be installed the 1st of January. So we're excited about that. A $1.1 million grant that was given to the town. And that'll continue to help with our water loss. Financially, put that in real terms, to go from 78% to 60%, saves the town between $12,000 to $14,000 every month. That is a substantial amount of money. And so I just want to say thank you for Corey's continued leadership and guidance in that, and the water guys just every day just grinding it out. And so there's a little challenge, the unspoken challenge between me and Corey, right? So he has taught me like what to look for in water leaks, right? And so I'll text him, I found a good one. And then it's just a service line. I'll text him again, I found a good one. And it's another service line. And then he texts me and he says, I found a good one. And he found a good one. He always one-ups me. So I appreciate it. Listen, the city manager, right? Out looking for water leaks. Think about that for a second.
You know what finds him, don't you? I text him and tell him, I said, "Guys,
So that's the key here. Listen, I appreciate it, man. And so all that being said, right now, if you're watching this, we really are working hard to try to find every water leak that we can. Things that are evident, if you see a really green patch of grass in the midst of brown, because everything's brown right now, there's a good possibility there's a water leak there, right? If you see water standing in a ditch, good possibility it's a water leak. What are some other ones, Corey? Those are the two big ones. If you see water running down a road right now, really good sign, that's a water leak.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Even if you notice just a little bit lower pressure at your house, just little things like that.
Yeah, so if you would, just please help us. Call them in and we'll do our best to get out there as quick as we can. That's the mayor's minute. Corey.
All right, the Christmas parade, scheduled for Saturday, December 16th, start time at 6 p.m., lineup begins at 5 p.m. We're still taking the applications or entrance into the parade. If you would like to contact Wendy Dean at Oliver Springs City Hall, she will get you taken care of there. The fall brush pickup is still going for 2 more weeks. That will conclude on November 30th. And they are picking up everything except tires, hazardous chemicals, oils, paints, gas, shingles, nothing with Freon in it. The paving, we've done 19 potholes in the past 2 weeks. We've still not been able to get our big patch jobs, road cuts done. I did talk to Rogers Group on Tuesday. They are making asphalt now, but it's that polymer blend, which is, it's still that binder that's got the bigger rocks in it. Now, if we had the equipment or the machine, I mean, you could lay that stuff. That's actually what they're putting on the turnpike in Oak Ridge right now. The way we're putting it in, we're getting dump truck loads, dumping it out, and spreading it by hand, and that's kind of hard to do with that binder. But we're calling every morning, checking. Did get word that they probably will start making asphalt again within the next week or so. So we're following up on that.
And to piggyback off him, I did call Rogers as well, just to confirm that, I'm a pretty simple guy. You trust, yet you verify, right? And so I did call Monday and they said the exact same thing. One thing that's kind of hindering us from getting it is TDOT has so many projects, state projects that they are doing. And the first priority is to TDOT projects. And since we're just a really small fish in a really big pond, we're not on anybody's priority, so.
We have found other places that are making asphalt.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's outside of an hour away from here. That'd be kind of hard
Yeah.
to get and make it back before it sets up. Update on the property donation. I did talk to the gentleman that owned the property out here on the 4-lane, the turnpike. Did get him in touch with Rusty. They were not able to work anything out. He asked if we would still be interested in a donation. He did have an appraisal on that property conducted, and that appraisal came in at about $9,000. So he said that offer is still open. If the city does want to take ownership of that property, he would gladly donate that. If not, no big deal. He'll probably just try to sell it. So that option is there if you want to look at doing that. The street department, all right, one of the handouts you've got, this one here. Last year, we bought a planer or a milling machine that we have not used. So what we're looking at doing is trading that in return for 80-inch grapple forks, a 80-inch tooth bucket, a set of pallet forks, and an 84-inch sweeper. Now, this sweeper is the type that's not just going to brush it to the side, it brushes it right into the bucket where you can dump it right into a dump truck. So for all 4 of those, plus we even have a $1,400 credit with Bobcat by trading that one piece of equipment in. We're just looking at, getting equipment that we'll use.
The planer has literally not been used a single time. So it didn't make sense to have $15,000 sitting there not being used versus things that the men could use that would make them
Is
much more
this
efficient.
what you're quoting from?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. And it has all the trade-in values and the values of the equipment we're gonna get.
What's the name of this company?
It's Bobcat, Knoxville.
Okay.
Are these new pieces of
They are.
equipment?
Yes.
Yeah, this
All
will just
new.
strictly be a straight trade-in, yeah,
All brand new.
trade-in equipment. All right, if you want to go to one other thing, talking with Chief Bailey earlier in the week, their hoses are getting older, and they're working with neighboring volunteer fire departments and cities about having testing done on the hoses that they have. Just like a preventive maintenance we want to do on water lines and stuff, they're doing the preventive maintenance on the hoses. That cost would be split, like I said, between the 3 or 4 different fire departments. And it's 38 cents per foot. Total cost would be $2,527. That's a maintenance cost. I just wanted you all to know about that. There is money in the budget for that under the maintenance for the fire department.
Did you want to vote on this Bobcat in Knoxville? Or is that going to be under new business?
No, it's just it was part of like the maintenance agreement. We're just trading it in and out.
Okay, so you don't need council approval?
No.
Okay.
No, just basically want everybody to know, be on the same page. If you want to get into the finances now, pull your budget paperwork out. Everything should go in order with 11 to 17 in this packet right here. So the first is your general fund, highlighted green. We have started collecting property taxes. You've collected $111,785 in property taxes in October. Total taxes, well, your sales tax, $68,000, that's well within average. $35,000 local sales tax to the state, that's well within average. Local taxes total is $240,114.78. Look on down the page, fire safety grant, $50,000 we've received. That was the Anderson County ARPA funds for the radios. The VCIF grant, $23,428. Back of page 1. If you will look at 110-36-510, that is insurance recoveries. If you'll look at page 1 of your other packet here, this I have explanations of anything that's highlighted yellow or green going forward. So the insurance recoveries, $11,594.50 was for repairs to the police Dodge Durango, the 2021 that was damaged in a wreck. The insurance checks we received total $20,666.73. Page 2 of your packet, small packet, under October, the miscellaneous, $11,966.56. That was on October 23rd or 23. Payroll tax refund number 1 from March 23, and there was a second payroll tax refund in the amount of $10,338.57 from June of 2022. Now that was following on this with Ms. Ramona.
Corey, chasing the rabbit down the trail here real quick. Before you were city manager, previous guy had stated that the state was supposed to give us like, what was it, Joe? $65,000 in sales tax for used cars that the state had misrepresented, miscalculated or something like that.
I seem like I remember something like that, but I don't remember the dollar amounts.
Yeah. Do you know if we ever got that much in?
So right off I don't. So that would be
Chief, you remember that?
I do know.
60.
Jeff, you remember that, don't you?
I did.
Do you remember the dollar amount?
It was up there.
It was a substantial amount of money.
It was.
And I can't remember, I don't know who we need to check with to see if we got that, but we need to check to
And
see.
that was
Ramona
for,
probably would know,
Who?
Ramona Walker,
Yes, correct.
because that'd be general fund.
It was sales tax for used cars that was like collected for a number of years, and something to do with how the state reimbursed on the sales tax, and they were withholding. Anyways, so our portion it was a substantial amount of money. Well, for something like Nashville, no, it would have been, no, but for us, yes, so, sorry.
okay. I mean, that's something we follow up. So for October, your general fund, total revenues, $363,690.81. Year to date, $936,299.47. All right, everything highlighted in orange will be your expenses going forward. Also on your sheets, your letter packet, again, anything highlighted in yellow is any overages of 1,000 or underages. City recorder, there was an overage, now this is on page. Well, let me go through everything first, before we get to that. First page expenses, Alderman, $186.40. City court, $1,219.19. Mayor, 508.97. Page 2, city manager, $3,184.32. City recorder, there was a $426.76 expense. That was for supplies, and that was for the purchase of the minute books.
Probably paper too.
What's a minute book?
So Joe keeps, we keep the minutes.
Oh, the ledgers?
Go in there and look to your left and turn the light on and the minute book's
Yeah.
up there.
Hey, what was the October sky, $400?
Yeah,
What was that?
yeah.
What?
Usually we spend $500. I'm not sure what that $400 went for.
Okay.
I know it always been $500 in the past that you'd donated.
Got it. Listen, I don't spend money. I just, so when I see mayor spend money, I'm like, ooh, I didn't spend no.
Yeah.
It may have been the fee that the movie company charged for renting it, or royalty maybe.
No, that was the police chief right there.
Okay.
And ASAP paid for that, by the way. Anderson County Drug Prevention.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. So,
Under tax administration, there was a $817.10. Do it under the, I guess that's page 4. 110/41/550, tax administration postage of rent. $817 was added to the postage meter. So that was posted to send out bills and mail. Treasurer, $8,152.91, if you want to go to page 3. Under City Hall buildings. Now, this one was lower. We usually were spending somewhere around $1,200, $2,000 in September. This month, we only spent $960. Lower due to the Archive Social being that's a yearly charge, so that's why that was higher in September. Still under City Hall buildings, if you will look at the $1468.86 expense, that was ink cartridges, voucher paperwork, supplies, paper, letterhead order. The ink cartridges were, I think, 2 of them was like $728. Under the police, everything's fairly straightforward there. If you want to flip pages to the police capital outlay and other improvements. Now, we did receive in the revenue, there was a $20,000 there that we received through the BCIF grants. Here's the expense, the spike strips and the injury gear that you all had approved the last couple of meetings. The $2,973 expense was an AED purchase through Centos. Again, all of this stuff was approved at a council meeting. The last, under the 110/4200 other improvements, 80s Body Shop, $22,464.38. That was a repair to the wrecked Dodge Durango. Now, we did receive the $20,666.73 from insurance. The only remaining was we paid our deductible out of that, so that's why that don't match up. Under the fire department, the major expense there is $7,795.68. Volunteer firemen are paid on a quarterly basis, so you will see that probably every 4th month. Under supplies and material, the Dalton Communications, the $4,287.68. The Anderson County ARPA grant covered $50,000 of that. There was a price increase on those radios, if you remember, $54,282.68 was the total price of those. We paid the difference, which is $4,287.68. Next page would be highways and street. One outline expense under 110, 4300, 251, but it should be vaccination, drug testing, and evaluation. There was a $763.88 expense for Centos Corporation. That's miscoded. That should be under 110, 4300-344, which is safety supplies. Everything else straightforward. If you will go to under Parks, capital outlay and improvements. That's 110, 44,700-900 capital outlay. Expense of $8,835.84. That was the purchase of the picnic tables through the TDOT direct grant. Those picnic tables have been installed over here on Windrock Road and at Citizens Park. Under other improvements, which is the 110, 44,700-939. Jimmy Ray Smith, 1,500. We're splitting the cost with the OS Booster Club and Youth Club to finish the brick on the concession stands at Arrowhead Park. $968.45 was the Play World system, repair parts from the playground equipment, plus an inspection. And then Acme Block was $1,100.84. That was the paver stones for the picnic tables. Again, that was paid through that TDOT direct grant, $10,000. So those expenses, major expenses right there, paid through the grant, that TDOT grant that Chief Laxton and did got for us. Look at the park, soccer field, porta potties, normally it's $110. If you look at Carmichael Park, normally Carmichael Park is $55. Those have just been miscoded, so they need to switch. Go look at the very last page, page 9. For October 2023, total expenses, $263,199. Total revenue, $363,691, giving you a $100,492 revenue over expense.
Can we all just take a moment and reflect on that?
Your next 2 to 3, 4 months should be very good. Any questions about the general fund? Next sheet is your State Street aid. State funds, anticipated state funds received, $10,529.38. Looking at expenditures, if you look at consumable tools, there's 4,000 almost each month. That actually should be coded to 121-43-100-241 electric. That is for the streetlights. So currently for that month, State Street aid, revenues over expenses, $6,395.54. Any questions about the State Street aid so far?
When you're recoding this stuff, are you recoding it now, or do you, like, it will be recoded next month?
Yeah. Usually, Ramona does those within, really whenever we get together. It's usually within 1 or 2 weeks to do that. And those are done through the journal entries.
But the thing is, that should set us up to be able to look a whole lot better with the next audit.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're just catching everything now instead of the
Exactly.
auditors catching it. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Your drug fund, everything's fairly straightforward there. Revenues, $319.24, no expenses from the drug investigation fund. Current account cash balance is $57,347.61 there. All right, if you'll go to your water fund now. Now, we're still on, we've still got 2 or 3 pages left in our letter packet here for the water and sewer fund as well. Looking at October, metered water sales, $97,174.92. Look at the highlighted yellow, this is Woodcutter's water and sewer charges. July usage we received, or the billing date was August the 9th. $8,639.51. That would be received from Anderson County. The August, which the billing date was September 18th, 2023, of $9,763.93 has been miscoded. So that is in the regular metered water sales, so we're going to have to take that out. The September usage, which the billing date of October 17, 2023 of $7,426, that was received in November, so we'll see that on the next month's spreadsheet. So, I mean, the big thing there again is that the miscoding of that. You should show 3 months receipt for that.
So how's all this stuff getting miscoded, Corey?
I mean, some of it's probably just rushing through stuff. I mean, honestly. What we're working on is sort of like outside, is changing our purchase order system where this stuff's being coded before it's brought in here to like Ramona's office or Lisa's office. That way they know where to put it instead of trying to guess or looking through sheets.
So is it getting miscoded in the field?
But they're not coding anything in the field yet. It's left up to like Lisa and Ramona to code this stuff. That's what we've got to fix. Get the guys in the field copies of these, the accounts, that way parts and supplies, repairs and maintenance stuff, they can code stuff right, like I said before, they gets to the office.
I'll give this example. Say we have an emergency somewhere and I'm driving by, and as judge and recorder, I stop by and the mayor says, Joe, run over to Ace Hardware and buy $500 worth of this equipment that we have to have right now. And I run over and buy that equipment, and then I turn the bill in. Where does Ramona code it? Does she recode it under the city judge or recorder's budget, which would be improper because I'm not buying it as judge or recorder, I'm buying it at the instruction of the mayor. On the other hand, should it be recorded under the mayor's budget? No, because it's not for the mayor. Maybe it's for the street department where we have to have some pipes right quick, cover it maybe that I can run get. And see, if I don't tell Ramona what it's for, she has no idea how to code it, but she has to code it somewhere. And then Corey comes along or the auditors come around and catch it and say, you need to take $500 out of the city judge recorder fund and put it under the street department. And that, that's where we get all these amending budgets generally in early summer.
Yeah.
So it's not somebody's fault, it's just the fact that, and Corey may not know which line item. If he buys it, he might not know what to put it under, because there could be 6 different line items that he could put it under. And he's just not sure which one, or if he's like me, he doesn't remember these numbers.
Yeah.
It's really a CPA's nightmare.
Yeah. So we're working through the woodcutters, getting that correct. Sewer service charges for October, $89,311.50. Total operating revenues for October is $200,753.34. Looking through your expenses, water treatment, $26,807.89 for the month. Page 2, transmission distribution. Big thing over there is your water purchase for resale under 413-52-114-353. Again, water purchase for resale, this is from Anderson County. For October, we only bought $4,614.30, which is about 3 million gallons of water. Total expenditures, $35,831.91. Under admin, page 3. Top of the page, highlighted yellow, $3,375.16. If you look in your letter packet, Precision Printing and Graphics, 5 cases of water bills, cost $2,562.56. Town of Oliver Springs ink cartridge, $502.26. This is reimbursement from the water fund to the general fund for the ink cartridges. Sewer collections budget, $14,618.59. Sewer treatment plant, go to the last page. Next, or second line, $13,309.53, which is highlighted yellow. If you go to your last page in your letter packet, in October, we paid 2 electric bills. We paid the September electric bill on October the 3rd, which is $6,303.87. And October 30th, we paid the October bill, which was $6,670.11. So there's where you paid a total of $13,309.53 in electric bills for the sewer treatment plant in October. At the bottom, your net change in position, $69,883.41 for revenues over expenses. Look on to the bottom, your beginning cash balance for October was $521,365. Your ending balance on October 31st was $623,642. Any questions about the water budget?
I got a question on the electric. Is that for the water plant? Is that $700? September is $75,71.13, and October is $8,283.15.
Water treatment plant.
Yeah, that's $700 jump in electric right there.
One thing that I've talked to, let's see. We do have it.
Right there. Yeah, I put one in.
One thing that's going right now, there is actually 3 electric meters at the water plant.
Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
3?
Just get ready.
Yeah. So there's 3 electric meters at the water plant. We're only being charged for 2, the one at the raw water pump station and the one on the high service pumps. You've not been getting charged for the actual structure of the water plant where the filters and everything's at for the past 13 years.
Yep, you all heard that right. We've been getting free electricity
So-
for 13 years.
Clinton's went back and gave us an average, and we've been kind of going back and forth on this. The average bill up there probably runs about $400 to $500 per month. So they're not going to go back 13 years. They've asked to go back 6. I'm not sure, if I'm not mistaken, you can only go back 3 years and try to collect past debt like that. That's something that I'm checking on right now. But, I mean, you figure $500, $400, I mean, that's almost $5,000 a year. For 6 years, you're looking at $30,000.
So is that not their fault for not reading the meter?
That is absolutely their fault.
So we shouldn't be liable for it on their neglect.
We're discussing that right now. This has all just come up within the past probably 5-6 days. So that's where we're at. So when I get more information, I will absolutely bring this before council.
So that's the $700 jump in the electric bill from,
Remember that the water department, 6 or 8 years ago, was overreading the water meter for the high school based upon training errors. And the school board instituted litigation that we settled. but it cost us quite a bit. And see, here, we're on the receiving side of the electricity and have to pay for it. I think the utility board made a mistake. 6 years ago, we were on the mistake side, where we were misreading it, much like Clinton Utility Board was messed up. And we ended up settling it, so, you know, I don't know whether Clinton Utility Board would not be required to collect that or not, but it can happen.
Again, this is still kind of early.
You're talking about which, where,
At the water treatment plants, it's,
at the water treatment?
yeah. See, there's 3 meters there. There's a meter at the actual structure where the lab's at, the chemicals, the filters. Then there's a meter at the high service pumps on top of the clear well. Then there's a meter at the raw water pump station, at the spring house. So there is 3 meters there. They have been charges for the others. The others, I mean, obviously, they're $3,000 and $4,000 bills. But that one for just strictly the water plant runs, it averages $400 to $500 a month. That's your lights, your HVAC, chemical pumps, so I mean, there's not a lot.
That's right.
Not a lot of KW usage on that.
No,
What number is that on this sheet?
It's, third page, third one down.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, the second page in the back, under transmission distribution, that's your electric bills.
Oh, I see.
Any more questions about the finance?
How soon do you think you'll have a solution to this little dilemma we have?
Well, I'm supposed to meet their representative, I'm supposed to meet this week, but he never did call back, so I mean, within probably Monday or Tuesday, I'll meet with him next week and figure out something. Which, like I said, we're not gonna decide something, I mean, we'll bring that before council. That's all I have.
Mr. Miller?
Yes, sir. Chief Watson? Come up, please.
Yes.
I would like to take this B&B stuff out and under the town manager and turn it over to you if the council would agree with me. It has become a nightmare. And Chief knows what I'm talking about on some of it. But you can either keep it yourself or put it under codes. I would let you make that decision.
Yes, sir. I know it would be a question for Mr. Van Hook on the way the original ordinance was passed, that basically the Airbnb permits were to be inspected, site inspections issued, and permits obtained through the city manager's office. The only problem with that I have saw over time with the complaints is everything that having it through the city manager's office, his authority does not hold court, whereas ours does. So when there are violations, there has to be, a penal process behind it. And that's why, I would recommend it as well. The city manager has a lot on his plate. I have a lot more enforcement options with codes, my officers that are on the road to handle these things. It's however y'all see fit, we can handle it either way.
Let it be known, I 100% agree with this.
So, do I need to make a motion?
Yeah, so,
Well,
Joe, how would we proceed?
offhand, I would agree that a motion and a second and pass it be proper. But if it is a true ordinance, I tend to think we need to pull the ordinance
Right,
itself and write up an ordinance number and have it where it deletes the paragraphs or the sections, the numbered paragraphs and numbered sections that put the jurisdiction to issue the permits under the city manager, and you would delete that and put in there the language that would put it under the police chief or under
Yeah.
police department or codes enforcement. And I don't know offhand without reading the ordinances, if the codes enforcement is a separate bureaucratic arm of the city, just as the police department is a separate bureaucratic arm of the city, or whether the codes enforcement falls under the police department.
So the good thing about it is when we switched that position from animal control to codes enforcement, that position was made into a reserve police officer, and his citation powers actually go through the police department.
Probably you would look at the ordinance itself and copy it and delete the word city manager and put in, I guess, the police department under the supervision of the police chief.
Yes, sir.
That'd be my guess offhand without reading it.
So let's, I tell you what, let's take it up on December the 7th. That's the first meeting. So we can go ahead and formally draft a new ordinance for all council to see. And I'm with Mr. Miller and Corey. Let's go ahead and put it under the PD. I think that would be best for all parties involved. Are you good with that, Mr. Miller? Let's go ahead and write the ordinance, and then December 7th, we'll take it up.
The minutes reflect the mayor will issue an executive order directing that to be done and presented at the next meeting.
Yes.
Who is you drafting that to do that? Is he requesting the city recorder to draft a new ordinance?
I can draft it, MTOS might possibly draft it, or city attorney. Depends on how detailed and complicated the changes might be. If you've got it in somebody's computer database, and it's fairly simple, if you email it to me, and I just delete city manager and put it in the police department.
Okay.
I just didn't know who you was directing to redraft the ordinance.
I'll get everything started, and then I'll get it to,
Okay.
I'll get it to you.
Sounds good.
That's fine. Let's see, how to address this without stepping on toes. We gotta have something done about the traffic that's parking in cul-de-sacs. You can't get, there's some of them you can't get police or fire in, or EMS if it's needed. And some of those are already marked, but we've got some that's not marked that needs to be, they've done been identified, we just need to mark them.
Such as Cedar Lane, Redbud?
Redbud's already marked.
Okay, Redbud's on there.
Redbud and Chickapin's already marked. Cedar Lane
Sturbridge.
and Sturbridge
Okay.
is,
Add or pass a ordinance with no on-street parking for at least those two streets, correct?
There may be an ordinance already that would say no on-street parking unless it's marked.
I believe it's the exact opposite.
Oh, is it that can park unless it's marked?
Yes, sir.
How did we do it the other way? Did we pass it in?
Well, I know when we did it on Winter Gap here, we just specified, because if Jeff was sitting here, he was on council when that happened. We just specified it and then we passed it.
Yeah, there was a motion made and second. and-
You have to buy the signs if you don't have them in inventory and post them.
Correct.
So yeah, that's probably a better way there. Motion and second to specifically name the streets and cul-de-sacs.
I'm in favor of making a motion or having it brought to the floor.
Now, as a thought, there might be other streets or cul-de-sacs that need to be included, but we're unaware of it at this time, or we can't remember everything.
Correct.
Certainly, you could pass what we know tonight and take up what we don't know, but later learn in another meeting.
Yes.
Or we can put it on the agenda and list the streets either by an ordinance or in the agenda package. That's y'all's choice. I'm just giving you options.
Seems to me like an ordinance might be the way to handle it and let chief identify the areas where the problems exist.
We've had few come in over time that have complaints. However, the things that we run into is it's not generally needed as a whole. So it's better directed for it comes from y'all, because I would rather a problem be identified, give to you or to me, it be identified as a problem or just one person's problem, and, you know, it needed for the whole street, or just one person would need to accommodate. So I know the ones that Mr. Miller speak of, and they are issues, and I feel comfortable if y'all decide to go forward with them. Any more, I would say to the general public that they need to just come forward to either me, the mayor, or y'all as a whole, and ask for that to be looked into, and that's how we proceed. I know he's been contacted with complaints, and we've went out several times at his request on Cedar Lane due to an Airbnb popping up and all this equipment being parked on the street, and it was even blocking someone's driveway. That is what's causing the issue. All the houses down that street have a long enough driveway, all the occupants park on it, but this Airbnb does not. When it has multiple families staying at the house, they're the only ones using on-street parking, so it wouldn't cause an issue, whereas another street, maybe every house has a car or two parked on the street, and it wouldn't suffice for their neighborhood.
If you know the names of the streets you want to take action on, do it tonight.
Yeah, just go ahead and.
Well, that's the only two that I know of that I've been contacted about, that there is issues there.
So,
What's the name of the streets?
Cedar Lane and Sturbridge.
so who makes the motion?
I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion to limit on-street parking for those two roads. We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
Question real quick.
Yes.
Chicken pen is already marked.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Okay.
Chicken Pen, Red Bud, both are marked. Sleepy Hollow is marked.
And Wintergate.
Would it be to limit, because that word implies that maybe only half the number of cars, or would it be to prohibit
No
on-street?
parking.
Prohibit.
Yeah, no parking.
Earlier signs, didn't you? Correct word be
Yes,
install
so-
signs?
Yeah, so once this is passed, the order will be given from the city manager to Rusty to put up signs indicating that these streets no longer have on-street parking. And then once that happens, they'll have about a 15-day grace period of notice, and then we will start enforcing it.
Well, we can't have problems that are going to interfere with emergency vehicles and stuff. That's just not even acceptable.
Correct. And you have to understand, we also understand the human aspect of things. If we have certain situations, we will overlook. I mean, there has been times when there is an area that has no on-street parking that's had a death in the family,
Right.
things like that. We have compassion. We will, abide by those kind of issues, but when it comes down to it's causing the whole neighborhood problems every day, then we will address it.
So we have a motion, second. Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Allen.
Yes.
Passed.
Thank you, Chief. I
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it.
Anything else, Mr. Miller?
Yeah. I've been contacted about leaves. And some folks are wrecking them in the ditch line, and I do believe we passed the ordinance against that. Did we not, Terry, some years ago about not wrecking the leaves? You can't wreck them into the ditch line because it stops up everything in 40 miles.
I don't remember, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially when you have people that the city will pick them up.
Yeah. But, people's wrecking them down now, they're putting them in I won't say the wind blowed them in the ditches, but they've wrecked them down to the edge of the ditches, and Mother Nature's kinda helped it. You know when they're gonna pick them up?
I think this started this week and the next 2 weeks. I think the last 2 to 3 weeks where they're gonna do the leaf pickup.
Okay. So I'm telling them or week after Thanksgiving or next week?
Next week. Both.
Next week?
There's some still falling, so it's
Yeah.
not like you do it twice.
Yeah, Sleepy Hollow.
When they hurt, or,
And I wanted to ask, since we're in a severe drought now, how's the water at the well?
It's getting low. Yeah, I mean, it's getting low. Back during the summer, we were probably pumping 800 gallons a minute out of that. Plant's only rated 700, state is aware of that. The past 3 to 4 weeks, we've had to cut that back to 700 gallon a minute. sometimes down to 690. If you pump over 730, 740 gallon a minute, you start bringing in sediment. So it is getting low. But that threshold seems to be about 690 to 700. So we have had to up purchasing from Anderson County just a little bit more this month. When we purchased from Anderson County, we shut the plant down for 2 to 3 hours at a time to give that spring time to recharge as much as it can. So we are limiting what we do take or withdraw from that stream right now. Adverse effect, I mean, we were keeping the Richards tank 28, 30 foot. It's more 15 to 20 foot now. So I mean, that it is affecting our pumpage to some degree.
How about the cove?
Cove's been okay.
Is it?
Cove's fine. Yeah.
Checking it off. That's all I got, sir. I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and safe Thanksgiving on their travels. So.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ms. Van Hook.
I wasn't here at the last meeting, and I wanted to say how much I appreciated all the people that worked so hard for October Sky. Joe and I were down there, and it was a marvelous experience just to watch everyone having such a good time. It was a beautiful day. Really made us proud of our town. And another thing that made me very proud of our town was this afternoon. The little fire that was burning out there was in my ward. I drove by and turned around, did a double take, and went back and ran into Corey, and also ran into Chief Laxton out there. We don't know how blessed we are in Oliver Springs, the people, the quality of the people that work in this town. Our volunteer firemen that just show up when they get a call. You know, there's places in the world that are a whole lot worse off than we are here in Oliver Springs. We are just blessed with good people. And I just want to commend our fire department. I don't think they get enough credit for what they do. But they were Johnny on the spot, literally this afternoon. And I appreciate that.
Thank you, Ms. Van Hook. Mr. Hall.
I always like to get the word out, do it, like the mayor said, 2 more weeks of clean up. You can't beat this, drag it to the road and get rid of it. I've had a good question of, if they pile something out there, should they call the city or?
It would be good if they would just call us and let us know. That would mean that way you make a point to go pick it up.
Yeah, makes sense. The food trucks every Thursday, is that a timeline? Is that quit doing that?
Tonight was the last night for that.
I'm trying to get that out for them. It's getting late.
Until the spring, they'll be back April, May.
Yeah. They did have a very good turnout from that. I was able to go last week.
And Chief, the media calls it spy cameras or something. If we get some new ones in town, the red will flash a light.
Well, those cameras have been there approximately 6 to 7 years.
There's something red flash, it hadn't always flashed red, don't there?
Yes, so what happened was with the change of the license plates from white license plates to the blue ones, they have now found that it works better to use red R instead of white. And we have been in talks with them about changing that back. But right now, the red that you're seeing is when it's trying to take a picture of the license plate and read it, they get a better production picture with using red R than white.
So what that is, so let's say for instance, your car gets stolen. Then when you contact the PD, they pull up a license plate, they enter it in the system. That camera, all it's doing is reading license plate. As soon as your vehicle goes through that, it pings the system, the PD knows, they know what direction the vehicle's headed, and they know to be in pursuit. Or let's say for instance, a lost child or a child Amber Alert. You know, it goes in the system, it hits the camera, and boom, PD's notified immediately, and they're on top of it. It is not a speeding camera, okay? For all those folks watching, we wore out on social media a couple weeks ago.
Well, that's what I call it, a spy camera.
Yeah.
It's actually a flock camera.
It's hard to notice, keep getting run over, when you see stuff and read it.
For sure. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Holland. Chief?
First two things will be kind of quick. Do we have any questions over the recent activity reports? Next would be the formal return from our recent audit. This was the Tennessee Highway Safety Office audit. So one thing I want to talk to you about real quick, and I laid a package at your seats, if you'll notice it says from the Department of Justice. 6 to 8 months ago, I came to you with the request to apply for a COPS hiring grant. I discussed it with you, me and Corey went through it during the budget process run by the mayor, and then come to y'all during this time. This grant was first put out, the COPS hiring grant, where they would replace, would not replace, but would add to our numbers of officers. It was going to be a 75-25 match. They would pay 75% of the officer's salary and benefits. We would have to pay 25% to add 2 additional officers. One of the things that I did apply for and was not sure if we would get this grant or if we would get this amendment, but there was also a section to apply for distressed areas that they would make it 100% match with nothing on our end to cost us. We actually won both. I have not received the contract until today, so I did not put that in your packets, and we still have a lot of questions to ask. We have not had time to review the contract in its entirety. The only problem that comes in is the Department of Justice is kind of starting to move fast, and they've put a time constraint on us for accepting this award. What I'm asking tonight is, however you want to word it, but at least giving the mayor the authority to look at this, look it over, let Corey look it over, have second and third set of eyes. If it is what it seems to be and what it portrays to be, I'm asking that y'all go ahead and give us the approval to accept this award. This would add 2 more officers to the streets for 36 months. They would pay for the officers and they would pay for their benefits package, the taxes and everything behind it. The only obligation y'all would have that is not funded is once these 36 months are up, we have to keep these officers for 12 months after. In other words, we can't cut them, lay them off, things of that nature. We would have to absorb paying for 2 more police officers in 3 years for 1 calendar year.
What's the deadline for accepting this grant?
45 days from the award letter. The award letter was dated for November 2nd. If it goes by my calculations, 45 exact days, it puts us at December 17th.
And why don't you guys take some time to review this and bring this back up on the 7th?
And I spoke with the chief about this, the only thing that really, other than the 12 months after the 36 months, would be vehicle allocation, because this pays for the training and the equipment allocation for each officer. So just a vehicle which could be covered out of the drug fund, is that correct? And I'm with, I like your recommendation. I have no problem.
I mean, I want you all to, have time to review this and make sure it's not something in there that you can't agree with.
Yes.
I'm all in favor of it as long as it's as good as it looks, or as good as it sounds.
Right.
Yes.
Let's make sure it's as good as it looks too. Because I want it to happen as long as it's.
A possible motion would be to authorize the mayor, the city manager, the police chief to review this contract and if all agree, then accept the grant on behalf of the town.
The only reason I went ahead and asked for approval tonight to put it in the mayor's hands is that I don't know what will come in December 7th, I guess is the next council meeting. If we make a quorum of people, if we run into any of those issues, I'm not going to get approval for this and we were going to have to reject $418,000.
No, we don't, no, well, that's true.
So if you put contingencies behind what you are allowing us to do, if it is what it says it is, give us permission to go ahead and go forward. I just worry with the holidays coming up, if anything happens to anyone and we don't meet quorum,
Right.
Well, sometimes
we run into
we
issues.
don't have but one meeting in December based on holidays.
Correct.
That's what makes me worried that they've given us only 45 days to do this. If we're not able to do December 7th, we're going to have a special call meeting just for this. It seems to be, from what I've read, I have spent all day today reading a 94-page owner's manual for this. I think I'm well versed in it, but I would rather more eyes look at this because this is a huge obligation. There is a lot behind it that I'd like to discuss with the mayor that requires reporting, audits, a lot more processes going into this. Corey is a wealth of knowledge for this. I want his eyes on it because he understands contracts, audits, all this stuff that I've not come up through my career doing. So if we can all come together and do that and December 7th happens, then that would be perfect. But if not, if you can give me stipulation approval tonight, that will allow us to just move forward without worrying about the next meeting.
I think that was prudent, Joe. I'm good with that.
Well, we need a motion and a second to vote.
Right.
Would you repeat that?
There'd be a motion to authorize the mayor and the city manager and the police chief to review this contract, and if all agree, then accept the grant on behalf of the town and execute the paperwork.
So do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion?
That's just too much money to leave
Yeah.
laying on the table, as long as there's not something in there that we
Yes, and
live with.
when Corey looked at this, when I originally applied for it, he found our part to be $34,000 a year for 3 years, and they're now even gonna pay that. So I mean, you're looking at almost $420,000 they're gonna give us to add 2 more officers to our, force.
It's 100%.
100%. We're not,
Which
it's
is-
not gonna cost us anything in salary. And then what the mayor was talking about as far as in training, Governor Lee has put forth with the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy. It does not cost anything to send officers to the academy. And then the next thing, with the last grant gets approved, the recruitment and retention, that will help pay for the overtime and that will help pay for uniforms.
Probably we'll have to pay it out and get reimbursed.
It is, yes.
So the only thing will be out, chief, is the vehicles.
The equipment and everything, and that's what I was talking with the mayor. I have extras on everything but a car. However, I have the funding and future funding from the drug fund to pay for one more vehicle, and that's what I would probably need to get back to full staffing with everyone having a car.
Would that put you with 3 officers a shift? Will that be enough or no?
No, what this would end up creating is what I have been trying for a long time to get, is it would cause me 2 floaters, basically a daytime floater and evening time floater. I already have one pick that is basically what we call an echo unit. They handle all emergencies, medical, law enforcement related, things of that nature. Because we have to be honest with ourselves right now, we don't have good EMS and first responder program that is able to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. There's a lot of concerns with that. We've had some officers that have stepped up in the medical area and have taken their own personal time to receive this training to help our citizens. If I can get them moving around in the car during the daytime, I can help our medical field.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, Joe.
Robert Miller,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
passed.
Thank you, Chief. I think Justin is out still working the fire's put out, but just containment and any flare-up issues, so, no old business, new business. Possible, or discuss and possibly approve purchasing a lawnmower using the State Street Aid Fund. We had tasked, Rusty with getting us prices, and if I'm not mistaken, the price that we have been quoted is set to go up in just a couple of months, or a few months, $2,000 or $3,000 per unit. So we thought it would probably be advantageous to go ahead and move on that now and save the town. If we do 1 unit, we'll be saving 2,000 or 3,000. If we do 2 units, 5,000 to 6,000. So, Rusty, you want to come forward and say anything, or Corey, do you want to say anything, or?
What you've got right there is the quote, the MSRP price was $16,749. This is for a Skag Cheetah 2 with a Kawasaki 38FX engine on it. Picture of it on page 2. Page 3 is the Kawasaki motor, which we want. This is going to be purchased through the Sourcewell. That's the state contract. That third page just tells you a little bit about what Skag's discount is, 22% discount taken off Published US MSRP. The back page, I've just put this on there. There's a lot of attachments that can be purchased for these mowers. One of those would be that grass catcher for mowing on the highway. We may look at purchasing. My recommendation was to purchase the Skag Cheetah 2 via Sourcewell state contract at a price of $13,200. That would be purchased out of the state street aid fund.
How many mowers are we going to need for next year?
We were looking at purchasing 2. This would be one from State Street Aid. We're turning the corner on the general fund. I'd love to buy one out of that, but I can't do it right now. A month or 2, we may look at buying another one from the state, or from the general fund.
But we're gonna need 2.
Yeah, we are. I just feel more comfortable giving
What
us.
if we could buy the second one 90 days, same as cash?
It's worth, I don't know that been state contract.
That's true.
I'm gonna do that. But it's worth it. Ask.
Yeah.
It's worth a try.
What I was thinking is if you pay cash, motion reading, you pay cash for one and buy the second one the same price, 90 days, to be paid for in 90 days, on or before 90 days.
Yeah, I mean, it'd like
From delivery, we'll say.
try, yeah. I mean, that definitely has that.
And I could write the motion where that if they don't accept that, then we just buy one.
I'm good with that. I'm good. I'm trying that.
I am too, because, listen, the
Anyone?
mowers that we have, they are way past their lives.
And that's, since you've brought that up too, what we're looking at doing is fixing the surplus of a lot of equipment, vehicles.
Yeah.
Every department's going through, getting a list of the vehicles that we can get rid of, equipment that we can get rid of, and we're either gov deals or gonna auction this stuff off. That way we can start purchasing new equipment, new trucks. I was looking at the fuel tickets, I mean, just this week. I mean, water distribution trucks, the lowest mileage we had on one of those is maybe 150,000. A lot of them are over 200,000. And you're looking at 2005, 2006 vehicles. We gotta get out of that habit of buying used and buying new, taking care of your equipment, doing your maintenance, and then selling those after 5, 6 years, 100,000 miles, well, they still have value.
Now, the 90 days, same as cash would be out of the general fund.
It would. Yeah. And we've spent, looking at the Skag mowers, I know they spent a lot of time looking at different types of mowers, heavy-duty mowers. I mean, this is kind of one we're kind of set on right here.
All right. Someone make a motion?
I make the motion that we purchase the one, and that pending the ability to do a 90 days, same as cash transaction on the second one, we would, if they were agreeable, we would go ahead and get the second one.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'd say.
Motion is second. Any further discussion?
How big's the deck on it?
72.
So 6 feet.
So that'd be,
Same as the grasshoppers. The grasshoppers is 35 boards and these skags are 38.
and that works out for what, 4 passes on the
They're in a minute.
median, 3.5?
All right, roll call, Joe?
Robert Miller,
Yes.
Teresa Van Hook,
Yes.
Terry Hall,
Yes.
passes. Question, do we want to authorize the surplus of the existing mowers now or wait till the spring and then the wind may be stronger?
Let's get, it may be after the first year before we get a list together of everything.
Okay.
So we'll definitely look at that. Definitely take that into account.
Yeah, we're gonna make a thorough list to try to unload a lot of stuff. So if we have that list ready by spring or March, April, and get going. All right, motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor, say aye.